Hey guys, my name is Puru Arora and I welcome you all to this channel. Today we are looking at the problem reduce array size to the half. Now this is a very easy problem. Now let's look at the problem first. Given an array ARR, you can choose a set of integers and remove all the occurrences of these integers in the array. Return the minimum size of the set so that at least half of the integers of the array are removed. So that means we are given an array filled with data. There are some numbers that can be repeated. So we need to find the minimum number of unique numbers that we have to remove so that the final size of the array is less than the half, at least the half of the original size of array. So at least means less than or equal to the half. So here we are given an array. The size of this array is 10. 3 is given 4 times, then 5 3 times, then 2 again 2 times, then 7 once. So now if we remove all the occurrences of 3, that is 4 times, then we are left with the array of size 6. Now if we remove even one element from this array, then we'll achieve our target. So we can remove either 5, we can either remove 2, we can either remove 7. So this is a valid answer. We can remove 3, then we can even remove 7, we can remove 2, we can remove 3, 5. But we at least need 2 numbers. So the answer will be 2. Now let's look at 5. Now if we remove 5, then again we'll need to remove 2. That is 2 numbers again. So our value again is 2. So this is a very simple question. So we can approach this problem by first getting the frequency of how many times a unique number is repeated in this array. And then we can take the highest number of highest repeated number, take that frequency and subtract that frequency from the length of the original array. That means if we remove that number which is being repeated the most times, then check how many numbers are left in the array. We can go on till removing these numbers till we are at our target, that is when our length is at least the height. So this is a fairly simple problem. Now the important step here is counting the frequency of the numbers. Now different people use different approach. Some people like to use array, some people like to create hash maps, some people use array lists, and all these options, all these approaches are valid. None of them is bad or something. So I like to use the approach of array list and sometimes the approach of array. In today's case, I'll be going over the array approach. So let's get into the coding. First, we'll get the length of the array. Now we need to find out the max number in this array so that we can initialize the array of size max, so that we can store the frequency of elements that are occurring in this array to that new array. So in this step what I have done is I have created a loop to iterate over the array, and then I'll be comparing the maximum element that I currently have and with the element that I am at looping at. So this way I'll get the maximum element of from the array. Now I'll create an array. Now again we'll iterate through the array. Now what I have done here is for each element in array, let's suppose our first element is 7, then I'll be getting 7 and I'll be placing for the 7th index, I'll be incrementing the value to 1. Now again our next element is, let's say, 2, then I'll be incrementing the position of second element in our frequency array plus 1. So this way as if 7 occurs again, then I'll increment the position the value again of that 7th index, so on. I'll increment this value one by one as these elements occur. Now this way I'll have an array that will contain 0 for most of the values, where for the numbers that don't occur, and it will contain the frequency of those numbers that occur in our original array. Now this is an approach that you can use if you want to create an array list for simply getting the count of the frequencies by comparing it to the previous element. Then you will need to initially sort that array. For this method you don't need to sort the array, so that's why I like this method a bit more. So here now we'll need to sort this array, the new frequency array, because we need the numbers that are repeated the most. So after we sort this frequency array, we'll have those numbers at the end of this new frequency array. So now arrays dot sort. Now this way all the empty zeros will come at starting, and the numbers that have the highest frequency will go to the end. So we'll create a new loop for int. We can take max minus, let's say n. No, we can say z 0. Or we can just simply create a while loop. So now I have created a while loop that will run until our n is greater than at least half of the original size. So I'll maintain an index I that will provide me the value of the biggest number that is being repeated at that moment. So I'll decrement it for every step. Now simply n minus equal to frequency I. So I'll as my I is max minus 1, that means we are at the last element. So I'll deduct the frequency of the most repeated element from n, then I'll again deduct the second last, then again third last, until my n is until my n is greater than the half. Now also I'll int count. This is for counting the size of the set. Now I can just simply return count. I think this should work. Nine. Oh shit, max plus 1 should be the size of the array, because we need to store the maximum element too. So it will be max here. Okay, let's submit this code. That's it. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to learn more, subscribe.